Good morning, class, receiving school and teachers.
Good morning, Mrs. Patnagas.
How are you all this morning?
We are very well, thank you. And how are you this morning?
Very well, just like you. Thank you. You may be seated. Now, we have covered 3 of our basic stitches that we are to use on sewing the pillowcases. There are 3 basic stitches. Hayano, if you can name me those 3 basic stitches. 3 basic stitches, hand stitches.
The blanket stitch, slip hemming, and the back stitch.
Very good. The blanket stitch, slip hemming, and the back stitch. Now, yesterday we looked at, in the previous lesson we looked at group 3. They sequence, one of the games we played, sequencing one of the stitches in the correct order. This morning, we will have, once again, sequencing of those 3 stitches once again, just to see if we know the steps of each of those 3 stitches. So I will have group 4 with back stitch. If I can have the runner up to pick up the cards, I'll have group 5 with a blanket stitch. The runner up from group 5, like you saw me doing yesterday, you do that. Runner up for group 5. Runner for group 6. You are doing slip hemming. I'll give you time and I'd like you to sequence that. And we'll have you up here to show how you have sequenced those steps to those different stitches. While your friends are doing that, groups 1, 2, 3, and 7, I'd like you to think about you may in your groups try to think of the different steps to those different basic stitches. That is the slip hemming, the blanket stitch, and back stitch. So when your friends come up, you are the ones who are going to check them to see whether they are correct. Okay, let's have, once you get them in order, then you go up and show your friends. How many cards do you have there? 7. How many of you? 7. Okay, you will all have to go up in that order. How many cards do you have?
6.
6. How many of you?
6.
Okay, you will have to go in that order. Okay, your friends are ready.
Okay.
Now, our friends from group 4 are going to sequence or put in order, correct order, the steps to the back stitch. I'd like all of us to check to see whether our friends are correct. If you can hold up your cards. Now, do you think the first step is correct? How about the last step? Yes. Tulanga, if you can hold your card up properly. The second step. Yes. Third. And fourth. Okay. Let's have a look at it once again. There's someone who is saying no. I can hear someone saying no. Who says no to the second last step? No one, huh? Okay, so we begin with a double stitch, second step, from the end of the previous stitch. Third step.
Return to the end of the previous stitch and push the needle down through the fabric. First stitch made.
Second last step.
Repeat step 2 to the end.
Last step.
Finish with a double stitch.
Okay, so our friends have sequenced them well. Let's all give a hand to them. We have the next group up quickly. Thank you. Put my cards there and you can sit down. Okay, let's have a group 5 with which stitch do they have? Move quickly. This is the blanket stitch, the stitch that we ended our lessons on the samples of basic stitches. Okay, we won't read, we'll just have a look at it. I'd like you to check to see that all the steps are put in the correct order, from the first to the last. Now, anyone who thinks that your friends made a mistake somewhere along the way? Let's see. Now, so are they all correct, the steps? Yes, very good. Thank you, group 5. Let's give a hand to them. Okay, we have group 7. Sorry, group 6. This is the slip hemming, another of the stitches that we will be using in the project. Once again, we just have a look at every step from the first to the last. And if you think one of the steps is not in the right place, then you can raise your hands and tell us where it should be. Are all the steps in the right place? Yes, very good. Thank you, group 6. You all give a hand to them as well. Thank you. Thank you. Now, so we've just looked at, tried to recap to all the different basic stitches that we have looked at. And I'm glad that you all know the steps to those 3 stitches. So when it comes to the actual sewing of the project, which is the pillowcase, you are able to go through all those stitches correctly. I'd like all of us to read together what our topic for this lesson is. Pattern making. Pattern making is the topic. The activity that we will be going through in the topic pattern making together, read please.
Drafting of the pillowcase pattern.
Drafting of the pillowcase pattern. Now we look at the definitions for the words drafting and pattern. What is the definition for the word drafting? I'd like group 6 and 7 to read it for us. Group 6 and 7, drafting.
Sketch or drawing of something.
Good. A plan or sketch, a plan, sketch or drawing of something. And what is that something that we are going to be working with? Pillowcase, yes. So drafting, actually we will be making a plan, a sketch or drawing of a pillowcase. If I can have groups 1 and 2 to read for us the definition for pattern.
A plan or diagram used as a guide in making something.
Okay, so the example we have is pillowcase, and that is actually what we will be going through for this lesson. Now let's have a look at 4 reasons. There may be others, but we have 4 with us. 4 reasons why drafting pattern makes it easy. Why, when we draft patterns, there are reasons why we have to draft patterns, and drafting patterns make it easy for whoever wants to sew whatever they want to sew. Okay, what is the first, one of the first things that helps whoever wants to sew to identify in making or drafting a pattern? What is the first thing together?
Types of pillowcase to be sewn.
Now here we are using pillowcases. We are basically looking at drafting a pattern for a pillowcase. So one of the first things, drafting patterns makes it easier for us to know the type of pillowcase that we want to sew or make. Now the second thing together,
Size of the pillowcase.
size of the pillowcase, whether it's big, small, long, square, or whatever size it's going to be. The third one together,
Length of the fabric needed.
okay, once you make the pattern, it will help you to know how long the fabric that you want to use for that pattern. Okay, the last one,
Expected cost of the fabric needed.
okay, so once you see that that pattern, the pillowcase that you want to make needs about 1 meter fabric, then you will know actually how much that 1 meter fabric will cost you. Now, so those are 4 things besides, 4 reasons besides other reasons why we draft patterns. Patterns not only for pillowcase, but anything. Anything that has to be made, whether they are clothes, they have to have a pattern before those clothes can be made. Now we come to the activity, and I hope you have come with whatever you have been asked to bring with you. Okay, you were asked to come with a tape measure. We only have 1, so you were asked to have rulers to help you. So you should have a tape measure for each group and a ruler to help you. Okay, and besides the tape measure and ruler, you should have newspaper, double page. Okay, you should have that with you. And your pen to work with. So you should have newspaper, double page, a pen, tape measure, 1 for each group, and a ruler to work with in this activity. Now, if I can have the class to read for us what we will be all doing together. The first one, we have A and B. 1A and B together, read.
Individually in your groups, draw out the diagram of the pillowcase pattern onto the sheets of paper or newspapers. Use rulers if you don't have tape measures.
Okay, so you will be drawing out the diagram of the pillowcase pattern on the newspapers. Okay, to the receiving schools, if you have newspapers, if you don't have newspapers, you have been reminded to have available some newspapers which you can use as sticky tape to stick them together to make them long or wider, so that can be used by your students. Now let's read the second part of our activity.
See the plan of the pillowcase to get the measurements of the different parts of the pillowcase.
Okay, so here is our pattern to that pillowcase. Okay, that is the diagram of the pillowcase pattern that you will be drawing out on your newspapers or papers that you have in this lesson. I have a bigger one on the paper. Now, the one on the paper is the actual pattern. Once you follow those measurements correctly, that is how your pattern should look like. Your pattern should be as big as that if you follow the measurements on the screen well. Now let's have a look at it through together. What is the whole length? What is the whole length of the pillowcase pattern? What is the whole length? I'd like you to look at the diagram on the screen or on the paper and tell me what is the whole length of the pillowcase. Bobby? Bobby, the whole length of the pillowcase?
57.
57 centimeters. Thank you. 57 centimeters is the whole length of the pillowcase pattern. Now, you will be told as we come to the actual sewing or actual cutting of what a flap is. But here you are asked to have your measurements done following the correct measurement. The whole length has to be 57 centimeters. Okay, then you have follow how it's done on the screen or on the paper with your rulers. Your rulers are measured in centimeters. You have 30 centimeters. So 30 plus another 27. Okay? 30 plus another 20. 27. If you are using a tape measure, let's see. Now the tape measure should be that long. The tape measure, you are able to get the full 57 centimeters. Okay? Now with the ruler, it's 30 centimeters. Then you put another 27 again. Okay? So you have 30 centimeters. Then from 30 centimeters, you put a mark. Then 27. Okay, that's where you finish. Tape measure. My ruler here. Your paper. Do you need it? Okay, I'll cut mine out for. You have ruler there? Paul? Or you got ruler there? Or you got tape measure? 57. Okay, let's see. Okay, at the end of the what? That's 30. Bring your what? Pen. There, this one they get it. Okay, see? 30. This is not 30, this is 35, see? Okay? Now where the 0 is, you put it at the end. 30 is there, mark it there, that's 30. And 27, to make it 57. So from there, you mark it down. 0, come there. Okay? That's 57 now. So that's your whole length. 57 up. And then you measure across 30 what? 32. Okay? That's 30. See? 30. Okay? We have 1 and 2. Okay? See? Now, so measure here to 30. Hey, not this is millimeter, no. Just to be centimeters. Okay, let's see. Hold that one. Hold that one. That's the millimeter we are looking at. Okay. Let's see. That's 30. Okay, that's okay, we bring this one over and make it 1, 2. Okay, so it's 32 there, not this one. Okay, do the same on the other side. Okay. No, you're only drawing. You don't have that, you're not, those scissors are not for paper, they are for fabric. You will be given scissors for papers tomorrow in the next lesson. Okay? 32, we have 30 there. And then 2, 1, 2. Okay? Then that's your actual 32 there. Now, okay? So from there, 30, down. No, let's see. It's not correct. There. 27 there. Okay. So what you are going to do now, you leave that one as it is, but you just rule line from there to that point, from that point to this point, and then you roll it across. Okay? Then make sure you have those ones like the 40 centimeter one up, the way it should stop. 30, okay, 40, that's 30 plus 10 is 40. Okay, put another mark there so it must look like that. Is that your ruler or mine? Do we have one? You have a ruler there. Okay. 30. So your space is small to finish one first. Okay. 50, oh no, 40. Okay. You got the length, the 57 already. Okay, that's the 40 there. And then from there, you have to do how it's done on that big paper there. You draw one line across, just like that. So your 57, you should have ruled line, okay? And then your 40 from the side, you rule line across. It has to be just like that. We help each other and get it done. No cutting, you are only drafting here. Make sure you have all those little whatever lines are there, have them done, and write what is there. Like the top one there, it says dotted lines and it says 2 centimeters. You have flap. You will be told of all those later. Now it's only drafting.
We're going to all that record.
Yeah, everything that is there has to be written in on your pattern. Okay? Today, this lesson is only on drafting. There is no cutting or what. Drafting is what? A plan?
Yes.
A sketch? A drawing of a pattern. So you are going to draw that pattern like it's there on the paper onto your paper. Whatever is all there, you are going to write that too as well. Raymond, where's your paper? Oh, sorry, no. Here, you can use the table. Come. Ruler here. There's no space. You can come and use this table here. Okay, stand where you are able to see that pattern, and you use the table to do your stuff. You okay? Everything that is there has to be done on your paper. Okay, because drafting definition we saw it says it's a plan, sketch or drawing of a pattern. Okay, so whatever is there has to be all entered into your paper. Whatever it says like that word flap, seam allowance, place on fold, you will be told of all that later. What you are doing right now is only drawing it onto your papers, but you have to follow the correct measurements. Okay, who has done the first one? Okay, your measurements are already there. Good. And then what you do, you roll lines. And then make sure you have the word like place on fold written. Those dotted lines must be also indicated too on your paper. Okay? You okay, Doveri? You all okay? Make sure whatever is on that pattern is also on your pattern. We looked at definition on drafting. What is drafting? Can somebody tell me what drafting is? A plan, sketch, or drawing of a pattern. So whatever is there has to be on your paper too as well. Because if you don't write it, you might forget. So like it says place on fold, you must write that and all that. So you will be told of what all those mean later. Okay. Patrick, you okay? Your ruler is one, yeah, okay. Are we okay here?
Yes.
And this time, Angie's got the water. Okay, listen, class. You are to have everything that is on the pattern on your pattern too. Can someone tell me what drafting is? What is drafting? What is drafting? Riku? Riku, what is drafting?
Drawing.
Drawing of?
Patterns.
Good. Drawing of a pattern. So you are actually drawing the pattern for your what? For your pillowcase. Okay? So please, you are expected to have whatever is on the paper onto your papers. And that also goes to the receiving schools, students and teachers. Make sure whatever you have, whatever paper you are using, you have the correct measurements with other lines like these dotted lines and this line across. All these dotted lines must be shown on your pattern. These ones here, they must be all shown on your pattern. Okay, if I can have every one of us sitting up nicely. Let's have a look at the definition once again of the words drafting and pattern. Riku just told us drafting is drawing of a pattern, a plan, a sketch, or drawing of a pattern. Now, who would like to tell me what a pattern is? That is what we are actually doing now. What is a pattern? Can I have someone to tell us what a pattern is? Violet, what is a pattern?
A plan or a diagram used as a guide in making something.
Okay, a plan or a diagram that guides you to doing something. So what we are doing now, that pattern we are making now is a guide to help us in making a pillowcase, so in cutting out a pillowcase and getting it sewn. Now, earlier in the lesson, we also looked at reasons why drafting patterns have to be done. There were about 4 reasons we looked at. 4 reasons why drafting of patterns are done. Anybody who can tell us? 4 reasons of drafting a pattern. Thank you, Rachel.
Types of pillowcases to be sewn, size of the pillowcase, length of the fabric needed, expected cost of the fabric needed.
Very good, thank you. Helps us to know the type of pillowcase, the size of it, the length of fabric needed, and the expected cost of fabric. I'd like the class to read for us what our next lesson is going to be on.
Next lesson is still on pattern making, observing a demonstration on cutting and will cut out the pattern.
Okay, so in the next lesson, that is what we are expected to do. To the receiving school teachers, if you can have necessary equipment needed for that lesson on demonstration and cutting of whatever has been done in this lesson. Now, our resources we are still using those same books. Once again, a reminder, have a look at the TED resource book to help you to gather more information. If I can have Francis to tell us what our keyword will be. What do you think our keyword is going to be?
Drafting.
Okay, Francis says drafting, so let's see if Francis is correct. So Francis is correct. Thank you, Francis. Our keyword for this lesson is drafting. And with that, good morning, class, all our students in the receiving schools and teachers.